So hey, listen, Lane Kiffin is at it again. We're a little late on this one, but Father's Day, he's got a picture of Kirby Smart in the hands of Nick Saban with with Happy Father's Day, saying that Nick Saban is Kirby Smart's daddy. No question about it. I think it's funny myself, and we're going to talk about why Lane Kiffin does this. There's a couple of reasons why. Stay tuned for that. And Scoop from Stuckey's. As always, our friends from Stuckey's, they're back. And their delicious candies are back too. These things are legit. We're running out. I had many more earlier. Now they're gone. Why does Lane Kiffin do this? Why does he troll everybody? He does it for attention. He does it so people like me talk about it, and as a marketing principle, it works. You're talking about one of the, and some people are not going to agree with this, but it is true, one of the most innovative offensive minds in college football of late. And, Steve Sarkisian did a great job at Alabama. Lane Kiffin really did a great job at Alabama. Yeah, he was a disaster at Tennessee. He was a disaster at USC. It remains to be seen what happens at Ole Miss. He was pretty good when he was in Florida, but Lane doesn't have rules that he follows, and that he's at Mississippi now. It's like the perfect spot for him. But don't forget that these guys were all on the same staff. This is one of Kirby's buddies, and so that he would do that to me is funny. Because what else? I mean, honestly, what else is Lane Kiffin going to do to get attention to Ole Miss? That is such a challenging situation. I don't mean that disrespectfully. That is a challenging job, and he's trying to get as much, attention to the program that he's running as possible. Again, not an easy thing to do. But when you look back at what Mississippi did to Alabama's defense, I mean, there's no doubt that Lane knows how to call a football game. I really am curious. I don't know when Ole Miss and Georgia are scheduled to play one another, but I'm very curious to see when Georgia and Ole Miss get together. Lane Kiffin has what a lot of people would call the best quarterback in the SEC. He's a first-team guy. A lot of folks are putting it that way. The problem for Lane is, right now they're not great at defense necessarily. So, Lane Kiffin over time, if he were as good at coaching as he is on Twitter, he'd be, unbelievable. But his stretch of time with success has been limited. I mean, he's had, I'm trying to see how many seasons he's had with, in the SEC, he's never had a winning season. He's only been a coach there twice. But, at SC, he, it didn't go well. 8-5, then 10-2, which was a really good year. 7-6, 3-2, got fired on the tarmac. Then he goes to Florida Atlantic, where he really did have success. 11-3, 5-7, and then 10-3. But, their win, Ole Miss's win in the Outback Bowl, I thought was a big deal win for the Rebels. I was not surprised that they beat number 10 Indiana, number 11 Indiana, but they scored 48 points on Alabama. Scored 35 on the Gators, 42 against Kentucky, only 21 against Arkansas, only 28 against Auburn, 54, 59, 31 against State. They had a hard time, but they did win that game. That game matters a lot. And then 48. If Mississippi's standard of success is different than Georgia's. And that's an important thing to remember in all of this. And I just, I wonder what Kirby was sitting there thinking when his buddy Lane Kiffin was, giving him grief over, Kirby's inability so far to win that game. And Georgia and Bama played 3 times with I wouldn't say all on the line. I mean, twice it was all on the line. But Kirby's got to win that game, and if he doesn't, this is the same sort of stuff, that's going to keep popping up over and over again. I don't know. I know it's time for Kirby to wrap this thing up and win that game. But Lane Kiffin, you can't take Lane Kiffin too seriously. And this is where I'm going to get to Stuckey's scoop. I don't know if y'all remember this from a year ago, but Lane Kiffin gets on Paul Feimon's show and talks about. Here's the quote. He says, "Me, Kirby, Jeremy, and Will must have said something funny to Pruitt." And he starts talking about the text chain they're all on. And then, of course, at the time, same thing last year. He says we all have the same father, which is Nick Saban. I just think it's a little bit funny to me because Lane Kiffin just doesn't have rules. They just don't apply to him. It seems like. I mean, everywhere he has been, he has just done what he wanted, and it's an interesting. Interesting. It's not the right word. It is an admirable thing to do if you can pull that off. Most humans cannot, and that is his style. Hey, listen, the guy's a hippo. I know a lot of people in the league think he is an offensive genius. But again, I want to go back to, you can't give up 51, 42, 63, 42, 53. I mean, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. And that's Lane's problem. If he were to get let go at Ole Miss, which is a long way away, I could totally see him in Athens one day. I would not be surprised at that at all. Although I do think that Lane Kiffin is essentially a head coach, and that's all there is to it. How many other places he can go to, I don't know. I think Ole Miss is a really good fit for him. The question is how many more times they're going to be tweeting about Kirby Smart to get attention to the Ole Miss Rebels. I don't know. Let's talk about it more over on DogPost, DAWGPOST.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the website.